One of the first things you're gonna need to do when riding your Omeo is to be able to transfer into it. So depending on the level of support you need, you might be able to independently transfer into the Omeo, or you might need some support, whether it be a caregiver or a transfer board. So when you're transferring into the Omeo, we always recommend transferring on the side that doesn't have the joystick, because while transferring, you don't want to unintentionally damage the joystick. So right here, we're gonna have Adam transfer into the Omeo. Go ahead, Adam. Well done. Now that he's transferred in, he's gonna snuggle himself back so that he makes contact with the seat back, and then position himself as center as he can be before riding. So now to get you familiar with the Omeo, I'm gonna have you check out the range of movement you're gonna need to operate it. So first, I'm gonna ask you to lean all the way back for me. I promise the Omeo chair does stop, so go ahead and lean back for me. So at this point, you're in your full reverse, but you're in your full reverse at your maximum speed. So during our trial, hopefully we don't get this far. So go ahead and lean forward for me. Right now, you're at your full throttle going forward. So hopefully we don't get at this point either. We're really gonna be working with a nice medium in the middle. So right now I want you to try to find your nice neutral center. And by neutral center, I mean that's where you're gonna tell the Omeo you don't wanna go forwards or backwards. That's how you're gonna be able to stop. Excellent, that's gonna be your nice neutral center. So now we're gonna take the next step and actually bring the legs up and use this in real life. So now that you're in the Omeo, I wanna make sure that you have full access to all your controls. So what I'm gonna have you do is go ahead and reach around to your right, and I wanna make sure that you have access to the leg button, your steering knob, as well as the tension knob at the bottom. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, where I wanna make sure that you can reach your lights. Perfect. And then if you can see if you have access to your trunk. So go ahead and do that for me. Excellent. I can see that you're able to operate all the controls on the Omeo, so now we're ready to ride. After you've transferred and turned on your Omeo, it's always good to verify that you are center and balanced. So you can do that by seeing your balance indicator lights right here. So they'll be green when you're nice and center, but they can also go red when you're out of center. So when you're not center, they will be red, and the side that lights up will actually be the high side of your seat. So that is the side that you're gonna wanna lean into to be able to center yourself again. Because ideally, you wouldn't wanna have to ride at an angle, you would always wanna ride center. And sometimes, after you've gone from seat steering back into joystick, your seat might be locked. So in that case, you're gonna have to unlock your seat by going back into your seat steering mode and then using your indicator lights to even yourself back out again before continuing your ride. And then, so we always wanna know that green is good, red is bad. So when you're riding your Omeo and you're switching between seat steer and joystick, the seat can lock at an angle, because when you're going back into joystick, you no longer have that side-to-side momentum going. So what I'm gonna ask you to do, because you're kind of at a strange angle right now, is to go ahead and unlock yourself back into seat steer, using your balance indicator lights, even yourself back out again, and then go ahead and lock your seat back. Now your seat is nice and center, so when you're riding, you're not gonna be pulling left or right, and you're gonna be able to do a nice, steady, straight path. So right now, we're gonna bring up the legs, and we're gonna enter balance mode. So by doing that, we just need to press the one button in the back, and it'll bring the legs up, and it'll start your balance mode. So the very first time, I'm gonna have him maintain balance for himself, and I'm gonna bring the legs up for him, supporting him if he needs it. So we're gonna bring it up in 1, 2, 3, just one press, brings it up, excellent. So I'm gonna ask you just go ahead and lean backwards a little bit for me. Perfect, and the same amount forwards. And backwards again for me. By doing this, he's seeing the range of movement he needs to be able to operate the Omeo, and as you can see, it's very little that he needs to do it. So he's holding a nice neutral position right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring the legs down, and I'm gonna allow him to go ahead and do this himself now. So right here is the Omeo key fob. This is how you're gonna be able to turn on and off your Omeo. So without this, you're unable to turn on and off your Omeo. So make sure you always have it available. It has 4 buttons, but it has 5 different functions. So as you can see right here, this button on the bottom is your power button. It's the only button that's ridged, so if you need to access it in your pocket while you're not looking at it, you're able to locate it. Additionally, up here, we have a turtle training mode. So when you first get your Omeo, it's kind of like having training wheels on it. So it limits the Omeo from 12.5 only down to 6 miles an hour, as well as it cuts down the responsivity on how fast you turn by 50% as well. And then continuing on the fob, we have this chevron right here, and that's your selector button. That's how you're able to go through the date, the time, and the odometer on your key fob right here. And lastly, down at the bottom, we have an anti-theft device. And so when you activate that, nobody's able to bring up the legs by pushing on the button. It actually deactivates the whole Omeo itself, so somebody literally has to physically pick up your Omeo and get away and walk away with it. On the key fob right here, it'll show you your current power level on the Omeo, so you're aware on how far you have to go. As well as the 5th function of it is the emergency safety shutdown. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask you to bring up the legs so that we can experience the safety shutdown. When the safety shutdown occurs, you wanna make sure that you're able to pull yourself into a nice neutral position because it's gonna deploy the legs out and stop you wherever you're at. So now that you've brought the legs up, I'll go ahead and start the process. As you can see, when the safety shutdown starts, it'll actually rumble at you, letting you know that it's about to deploy the legs, and then it'll deploy the legs right afterwards. So as the name states, it's an emergency safety shutdown. So the Omeo is completely shut down. So in order for you to ride, you're gonna actually need to bring it back online, and we'll do so by pointing the back of the fob to where your light indicators are. That way you get a nice strong connection to turn your Omeo back on. And then your Omeo is back on, and as you can see, you don't have any errors indicated on your key fob, so you're ready to ride again, my friend.